Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something precious, something often overlooked: your energy. Your energy is sacred, a treasure that fuels your dreams, your joy, your very life. Yet, too often, we give it away to those who do not honor it, to those who drain it without thought or care. It is time to reclaim what is rightfully yours, to protect the light within you, and to invest your energy where it truly belongs. Your energy is the very essence of who you are. It is the invisible force that shapes your thoughts, your actions, your relationships, and the very world you inhabit. When you understand that your energy is your power, you begin to see that it is not merely a resource to be used at whim, but a sacred flame that must be protected and honored. From the moment you awaken in the morning to the moment your head touches the pillow at night, your energy courses through you, influencing not only the choices you make, but the lives of those around you. To guard it fiercely is to guard your life itself. It is to recognize that every thought you entertain, every conversation you engage in, every action you take either nourishes this energy or diminishes it. There is a profound wisdom in learning how to distinguish between what elevates you and what depletes you, between what serves your growth and what hinders it. Too often, people move through life, giving their energy away without thought, without intention, without care, as if it were an infinite commodity, forgetting that it is limited, fragile, and precious. It is not a fountain that replenishes endlessly. It is a well, and it is your duty to protect its waters. When you give your energy to negativity, to gossip, to envy, to those who do not honor your presence, you are effectively weakening the very foundation of your being. You are allowing others to shape your mood, your mindset, your very sense of self, when in truth, you hold the reins. To guard your energy fiercely is not to close yourself off from the world, but to engage with it consciously and deliberately. It is to choose carefully where your attention goes, whom your time is spent with, and which battles are worth fighting. It is to recognize that every act of generosity, every word of encouragement, every ounce of care you offer carries within it the potential to strengthen your power or to dilute it. When you give it to the wrong people, it is not only wasted, it is stolen. It leaves you depleted, drained, and disconnected from your true self. Consider for a moment the company you keep. The energy of others is contagious. It seeps into you whether you invite it or not. When you spend time with those who are negative, critical, or toxic, their energy merges with yours, weighing you down, clouding your judgment, and dimming your light. Conversely, when you surround yourself with those who uplift, who inspire, who encourage growth, their energy fuses with yours in a harmonious dance, amplifying your power and heightening your clarity. To guard your energy is to cultivate discernment. It is to recognize the subtle ways in which people and circumstances affect you and to make intentional choices about where you invest your vitality. Guarding your energy also requires boundaries, a concept that is often misunderstood as selfishness or pride, when in reality, it is an act of profound self-respect. Boundaries are the protective walls you erect to prevent your energy from being siphoned by those who would take without giving, who would drain without replenishing, who would diminish without nurturing. It is the courage to say no when necessary, the wisdom to step away from situations that do not serve your higher purpose, and the discipline to prioritize your well-being above approval, fear, or obligation. When you guard your energy fiercely, you are not rejecting the world, you are affirming your right to exist fully, freely, and unburdened by forces that do not align with your truth. Every moment of your life is a choice, a chance to either protect or squander your energy. Every interaction, every decision, every thought carries weight. When you spend your energy on anger, resentment, or fear, you are expending your power on things you cannot control, diminishing the vitality that could otherwise fuel your dreams and aspirations. When you dedicate it to love, creativity, joy, and growth, you are investing in the very foundation of your future. Guarding your energy fiercely means making conscious choices in the small, often overlooked moments of daily life. It means noticing when a conversation leaves you feeling drained, when a situation leaves you unsettled, and when a thought pattern leaves you anxious. It means stopping, reflecting, and recalibrating before allowing your precious energy to be pulled into drains that serve no purpose in your journey. To understand the importance of guarding your energy is to understand that your life is not a rehearsal. You do not have unlimited opportunities to give, to act, or to create. Every day is a gift, and every ounce of energy you possess is part of that gift. When you give it carelessly, you diminish the impact of your presence in the world. You reduce the potential of your voice, your actions, and your influence. Your energy is the engine that drives your existence. To fuel it, nurture it, and protect it is to honor yourself and the life you are here to live. Those who respect and cherish their energy understand that it is not merely personal, but also communal. The strength of your energy affects your family, your friends, your colleagues, and the countless lives you touch, whether knowingly or unknowingly. By guarding it, you create a ripple effect that elevates not only your life, but the lives of those around you. Fiercely guarding your energy also requires honesty and self-awareness. You must look within and recognize the patterns in your life where your energy has been depleted, the relationships where it has been drained, the circumstances where it has been misused. It is a process of reflection and acknowledgement, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths about how you have been giving away your power. This is not an act of blame, but of liberation. By shining a light on these patterns, you gain the clarity necessary to redirect your energy intentionally, to reclaim what is rightfully yours, and to step fully into your power. Furthermore, guarding your energy fiercely is an act of love. Love for yourself, love for your purpose, and love for the world you are meant to impact. It is an understanding that the quality of your life is directly tied to the quality of the energy you cultivate, and that by protecting it, you are ensuring that your contributions are meaningful, intentional, and transformative. When you are vigilant in guarding your energy, you are not living reactively, but proactively, shaping your life from a place of strength, wisdom, and clarity. You are setting the standard for how others may engage with you, signaling that your time, your attention, and your essence are sacred, and that only those who honor them may partake in their light. The act of guarding your energy is not a one-time decision, but a lifelong practice. It requires constant attention, reflection, and adjustment as you grow, evolve, and encounter new people and situations. It is the discipline to step back when needed, to recharge when necessary, and to seek environments and relationships that resonate with your inner truth. It is the courage to let go of what no longer serves you, even when it is familiar or comfortable, and the wisdom to embrace what nurtures your soul, even when it challenges you. Your energy is your power, and to guard it fiercely is to honor the sacredness of your existence. It is to refuse to be depleted by forces that seek to diminish you, to refuse to be swayed by negativity, and to refuse to allow the world to dictate the value of your presence. Every thought, every word, every action is an opportunity to protect, cultivate, and amplify your energy. In guarding it, you claim your sovereignty, your authority over your life, and your right to live fully, passionately, and purposefully. It is essential to remember that guarding your energy does not isolate you from the world. It empowers you to engage with it in the most meaningful ways. It allows you to show up fully in your relationships, to contribute deeply to your work, and to live authentically in alignment with your values and aspirations. When you guard your energy fiercely, you create a life that is intentional, rich, and fulfilling. You become a force of light in a world that often seeks to dim it, a beacon of strength and clarity in the midst of chaos, and a model of self-respect and empowerment for those who witness your journey. Your energy is not a commodity to be spent recklessly. It is a treasure to be cherished, honored, and defended. It is the very foundation of your existence, the driving force behind your creativity, your courage, your compassion, and your wisdom. To guard it fiercely is to affirm your right to live a life of purpose, passion, and possibility. It is to recognize that you are not required to give your power to anyone who does not respect it, that you are free to protect what is sacred, and that in doing so, you elevate not only your own life, but the lives of all those you touch. Recognizing who truly deserves your attention and care is a lesson that life teaches us through experience, through trials, through moments of heartbreak and moments of joy. It is a truth so simple, yet so profound, that too often it is overlooked in the rush and chaos of daily life. Each day, you are presented with countless demands, countless voices, countless distractions, all competing for your precious attention. Your attention is a currency far more valuable than gold, far more precious than any material possession, because it is finite, and once it is spent, it cannot be retrieved. To give your attention freely, without discernment, is to risk losing it to those who neither respect it nor deserve it, and in doing so, you risk diminishing the quality of your life, the clarity of your mind, and the strength of your spirit. Learning to recognize who truly deserves your care is not an act of arrogance, nor is it an act of selfishness. It is an act of wisdom, of self-respect, and of understanding the sacredness of your own life. Every person you encounter carries with them a certain energy, an imprint, a resonance that either harmonizes with your own or conflicts with it. There are those whose presence lifts you, whose words nurture your soul, whose actions inspire growth, and whose intentions are rooted in respect, love, and mutual understanding. These are the people who deserve your attention, who deserve the care you offer, and who honor the precious energy that you bring into their lives. And there are those who, knowingly or unknowingly, drain, deplete, and distract, whose words wound rather than heal, whose actions confuse rather than clarify, and whose presence diminishes rather than elevates. To give your attention to the wrong people is to give your power away, to dilute your energy, and to compromise your ability to live fully, freely, and authentically. Recognizing who truly deserves your care is therefore not optional. It is essential to the preservation of your life force, the fulfillment of your potential, and the alignment of your life with your deepest values. It begins with awareness, with observing the subtle cues that indicate whether a person's presence in your life is beneficial or detrimental. Notice how you feel after interactions, whether you leave uplifted, inspired, and energized, or whether you feel drained, anxious, and diminished. Listen carefully to the language people use, the tone in their voice, the consistency of their actions. Actions speak louder than words, and often the intentions of others are revealed not in what they say, but in what they consistently do. Recognizing who deserves your attention requires patience, discernment, and courage. It requires the willingness to step back from emotional attachments, societal expectations, and personal habits that may have conditioned you to give freely to those who do not deserve it. Many people operate under the misconception that love, care, and attention must be given indiscriminately, that to withhold it is cruel or unkind. Yet, true love and true care are never indiscriminate. They are deliberate, intentional, and discerning. To care for everyone equally, without thought or reflection, is to risk exhaustion, resentment, and imbalance. It is to scatter your energy so widely that it loses its potency, leaving you unable to offer your best self to those who truly matter. Recognizing who deserves your attention is, in essence, an act of love for yourself. It is an acknowledgement that your time, your presence, and your energy are valuable, and that by offering them wisely, you can create deeper, more meaningful, and more fulfilling connections with those who honor them. In order to cultivate this awareness, it is necessary to cultivate a deep understanding of your own values, needs, and priorities. When you know what you stand for, what nourishes your soul, and what aligns with your purpose, it becomes easier to recognize those who resonate with your vibration and those who do not. Your attention and care should be reserved for those who respect your boundaries, who listen with empathy, who uplift rather than diminish, and who demonstrate a willingness to contribute positively to your life. The wrong people are not always obvious at first glance. They often appear charming, persuasive, or needy. Yet, over time, patterns emerge, and the truth becomes clear. Recognizing these patterns requires honesty, introspection, and a commitment to observing your life without denial or rationalization. It is also important to understand that recognizing who deserves your care does not mean withdrawing compassion from the world. It does not mean becoming indifferent to suffering or cold to the needs of others. Rather, it means learning to distinguish between situations where your attention and energy will create meaningful impact and situations where they will be wasted or misused. It is the difference between planting seeds in fertile soil versus scattering them on barren ground. By giving your attention selectively, you maximize your ability to affect positive change, to nurture growth, and to contribute meaningfully to the lives of those who are receptive and appreciative. Relationships are the primary arena in which this principle manifests. Too often, people remain entangled in connections that are one-sided, draining, or toxic, believing that persistence or loyalty will eventually transform the situation. Yet, no amount of effort can force someone to value your energy or appreciate your presence. Recognizing who deserves your attention involves acknowledging when a relationship has reached its natural limit, when it no longer serves your well-being, and when it is time to step back or let go. This is not abandonment. It is self-preservation. It is the courage to honor your own needs and the wisdom to understand that your care is most powerful when it is given where it is valued and reciprocated. This principle extends beyond personal relationships to all areas of life, your work, your community, and even your own thoughts and beliefs. The attention you give to certain ideas, projects, or people shapes your reality. When you focus on negativity, distraction, or conflict, you amplify those forces in your life. When you direct your attention toward growth, positivity, and meaningful pursuits, you cultivate a life that is rich, purposeful, and fulfilling. Recognizing who and what deserves your attention is therefore an exercise in conscious living. It is the practice of choosing where to invest your precious energy, knowing that it will yield returns in proportion to the care and discernment you exercise. Furthermore, recognizing who deserves your care requires courage and vulnerability. It requires the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to acknowledge patterns of dependence or codependency, and to resist the pull of obligation, guilt, or societal expectation. Often, we continue to give our attention to those who do not deserve it because we fear conflict, because we desire approval, or because we are conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by our availability. True strength, however, is found in the ability to step away when necessary, to set boundaries firmly yet compassionately, and to preserve your energy for those who genuinely honor it. There is also a spiritual dimension to this awareness. Your energy, your attention, and your care are not merely personal resources. They are sacred gifts that have the power to transform lives, including your own. When you offer them to those who resonate with your soul, you participate in a divine exchange, a mutual elevation that enriches all involved. When you offer them to those who do not, you diminish your own vitality and dilute your potential to make meaningful impact. Recognizing who deserves your care is, therefore, an act of alignment with your higher purpose. It is a declaration that you will not squander what is sacred, that you will not compromise your well-being for the sake of approval, and that you will invest your energy with intention, wisdom, and love. Practical steps toward this awareness include mindful observation, reflective journaling, and honest conversations. Pay attention to how interactions leave you feeling. Seek clarity about your priorities and values, and communicate openly with those around you about what you need and expect. Trust your intuition, that quiet, persistent voice that often knows the truth before your mind fully comprehends it. It will guide you in recognizing who truly deserves your presence, attention, and care. It will help you discern between temporary neediness and long-term compatibility, between fleeting charm and genuine respect, and between superficial connection and deep, meaningful engagement. Recognizing who deserves your attention is also about timing. Not everyone is ready to receive your care or appreciate your energy at the same time. Sometimes circumstances change, growth occurs, or clarity emerges, revealing who is truly aligned with your path. By exercising patience, observation, and discernment, you allow the natural course of life to show you the truth. You avoid the waste of giving your energy prematurely or to those who are not yet prepared to honor it. Ultimately, this principle teaches a profound truth, that your life, your energy, and your attention are sacred. To recognize who deserves your care is to honor that sacredness. It is to live intentionally, to engage meaningfully, and to cultivate relationships and experiences that elevate rather than diminish you. It is to step into your power, to assert your worth, and to create a life in which your energy is spent wisely, generously, and fruitfully. By discerning who is worthy of your attention, you safeguard the vitality that fuels your dreams, nurtures your spirit, and amplifies your influence in the world. Saying no is one of the most powerful expressions of self-respect that a person can practice. In a world that constantly demands more of us, our time, our attention, our energy, it is all too easy to say yes, to overextend, to give beyond what we are capable of giving, and in doing so, to erode the very foundation of our well-being. Yet, saying no is not an act of cruelty, nor is it a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of strength, a proclamation that your life, your energy, and your priorities are worthy of honor. From the moment we begin our journey in life, we are taught, often implicitly, that to be kind, to be agreeable, and to be helpful is virtuous. While these traits are indeed noble, they are only noble when balanced with the courage to protect oneself, the wisdom to set boundaries, and the clarity to recognize that our own needs are just as important as the needs of others. To understand the power of saying no, one must first understand the value of yes. Yes is precious. Yes carries intention, presence, and commitment. When we say yes to too many things, to too many people, or to too many demands, we dilute the potency of our yes. Every yes should be a conscious choice, an offering of our full attention, our energy, and our integrity. When we learn to say no, we are not closing ourselves off from the world, but rather we are preserving the sanctity of our yes. We are ensuring that when we do commit, we do so fully, authentically, and with the capacity to follow through with our whole heart and soul. Saying no is, therefore, an act of respect not only for ourselves, but also for those to whom we say yes. It ensures that our contributions are meaningful, thoughtful, and potent, rather than half-hearted, rushed, or depleted. The act of saying no requires courage, for it often challenges social expectations, personal guilt, and the fear of disappointing others. Society teaches us that to be agreeable is to be valued, and to say no is to risk rejection, criticism, or conflict. Yet, there is a deeper truth. Every time we say yes out of obligation, fear, or desire for approval, we chip away at our own dignity and our own energy. Each unneeded yes is a debt we pay in the currency of our vitality, leaving us exhausted, resentful, and disconnected from our authentic selves. Recognizing that saying no is not selfish is the first step toward reclaiming the sovereignty over our own lives. Selfishness implies a disregard for others. Saying no, when done with integrity and honesty, is an acknowledgement of limits and a preservation of the resources necessary to contribute meaningfully and sustainably. There is a profound wisdom in understanding that every no is an opportunity to create space for rest, for reflection, for focus, and for growth. When we say no to distractions, unnecessary obligations, and draining relationships, we are saying yes to ourselves. We are saying yes to our dreams, our passions, our health, and our inner peace. The people who truly value us will understand this. And even if they do not, it is not our responsibility to force comprehension. Our responsibility is to honor our own life, our own energy, and our own path. Saying no is an act of clarity. It is the recognition that our time on this earth is finite and precious, and that it deserves to be invested with intention, thoughtfulness, and purpose. Consider for a moment the relationships in your life. Many of us continue to say yes to people who consistently take more than they give, who demand our attention without reciprocation, or who fail to respect our boundaries. Over time, these interactions leave us drained, diminished, and depleted. Saying no to such people is not a rejection of them as human beings, but rather a recognition of what we are capable of giving without harm to ourselves. It is an affirmation that our energy is valuable and that it deserves protection. The discipline to say no is a reflection of maturity, self-awareness, and self-compassion. It is an understanding that our capacity to give, to love, and to engage meaningfully is strengthened when it is preserved and managed with wisdom. Saying no also requires honesty and directness. It is not enough to think no internally or to avoid engagement without explanation. To practice self-respect, we must learn to communicate our no with clarity, kindness, and firmness. It is a gift both to ourselves and to others, for it prevents misunderstandings, sets clear expectations, and fosters authentic relationships built on mutual respect. When we say no, we teach others how to treat us, and we model for them the importance of boundaries, integrity, and conscious living. There is no shame in saying no. There is power, liberation, and self-affirmation. Many fear that saying no will lead to isolation or loss, yet the opposite is often true. By guarding our energy and attention, we attract into our lives those who genuinely respect and value us. We create space for relationships, opportunities, and experiences that are aligned with our purpose and values. Every no that preserves our integrity and energy is a yes to a more meaningful, authentic, and fulfilling life. It is a statement that we will not sacrifice our peace for the comfort of others, nor compromise our values to meet external expectations. The courage to say no empowers us to live deliberately, to act with intention, and to honor the sacredness of our own existence. In practice, saying no may take many forms. It may be declining invitations that feel draining or unnecessary, turning away from projects that do not align with our purpose, or disengaging from conversations or environments that erode our peace. It may be resisting the pressure to conform to societal norms, familial expectations, or peer demands. It may even be declining our own self-criticism, the inner voice that insists we do more, be more, and give more than we are capable of. Each no is a boundary, a line drawn in the sand that protects our vitality, our creativity, and our joy. It is a recognition that our presence in the world is most potent when it is unburdened by overextension and depletion. The act of saying no is also a spiritual practice, for it acknowledges the sanctity of our inner life. It is a recognition that our energy, our attention, and our care are sacred gifts entrusted to us, not to be squandered carelessly. By saying no, we affirm that our life is a precious resource, that our purpose deserves focus, and that our well-being is non-negotiable. This is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of alignment with the divine within us, a recognition that to preserve our light, we must guard it from unnecessary consumption. Moreover, saying no strengthens our ability to say yes meaningfully. When we reserve our attention and energy for what truly matters, our yes becomes powerful, deliberate, and impactful. It is no longer scattered, diluted, or obligatory. It becomes an expression of our values, our priorities, and our authentic self. Every no is an investment in the quality of our yes, ensuring that when we engage, we do so with full presence, intention, and purpose. Many people struggle with guilt or fear when saying no, but these feelings are often misplaced. Guilt arises when we confuse obligation with responsibility, when we assume that our worth is measured by our availability to others rather than by the integrity with which we live our lives. Fear arises when we imagine loss, rejection, or disappointment as a consequence of asserting our boundaries. Yet, the truth is that those who truly respect us will honor our no, and those who do not are not aligned with the life we are meant to lead. The courage to say no allows us to move through life with clarity, strength, and dignity. Saying no is also an act of empowerment. It shifts the locus of control from external demands to internal discernment. It reminds us that we are the authors of our own lives, that our choices carry weight, and that we are responsible for the stewardship of our energy, our time, and our attention. By embracing the power of no, we reclaim the authority to live authentically, to prioritize what matters most, and to create a life that reflects our deepest values and aspirations. It is essential to remember that saying no is not a rejection of the world, but an embrace of oneself. It is a declaration that our life, our energy, and our time are sacred, and that we will not squander them to satisfy external expectations or societal pressures. Each no is a step toward freedom, clarity, and integrity, a reaffirmation that our presence in the world is most meaningful when it is aligned with our purpose and values. It is a practice of self-respect that radiates outward, influencing our relationships, our work, and our engagement with the world in ways that are profound, intentional, and transformative. Surrounding yourself with people and environments that uplift rather than deplete is one of the most profound acts of self-love and self-preservation that a person can practice. Life is full of choices, full of intersections, full of relationships and spaces that either nourish our spirit or drain our vitality. From the people we choose to spend our time with, to the environments we inhabit, to the energy we allow into our consciousness, every decision matters, for it shapes the quality of our life, the clarity of our thoughts, and the strength of our soul. The human experience is not meant to be endured in isolation or in the presence of constant negativity. We are social beings designed to thrive in connection, to grow in collaboration, and to find strength in community. Yet, the quality of those connections and the nature of the spaces we inhabit is what determines whether our life is enriched or diminished. When we surround ourselves with those who uplift us, who encourage our growth, who celebrate our victories and support us in our struggles, our energy multiplies, our vision sharpens, and our potential is realized. Conversely, when we allow ourselves to dwell in toxic environments, among people who drain, criticize, or diminish us, our light fades, our joy diminishes, and our spirit grows weary. The first step in creating a life that uplifts rather than depletes is awareness. Awareness of the energy that people and places bring into our lives. Awareness of how interactions leave us feeling. Awareness of the subtle and not so subtle ways in which our surroundings influence our thoughts, our moods, and our actions. Every human carries an energy, a vibration that can either harmonize with ours or clash with it. Some people are like mirrors, reflecting back our best qualities, inspiring us, encouraging us to rise, to shine, to be our fullest selves. Others act as drains, absorbing our vitality, feeding off our attention, and leaving us exhausted, anxious, or diminished. The environments we inhabit, our workplaces, our neighborhoods, even our homes, can have the same effect. They can either be sanctuaries of growth and inspiration or arenas of stress and depletion. Recognizing this truth is not a judgment of others. It is a recognition of our responsibility to ourselves, a declaration that our energy is sacred and that it deserves protection. Choosing uplifting company and spaces requires courage. It requires the courage to step away from familiar but harmful patterns, to detach from relationships that no longer serve our growth, and to reject the pressures of conformity or obligation. Many of us remain in environments or with people who drain us out of habit, fear, or guilt. We fear rejection, conflict, or loneliness. Yet, the cost of remaining in such circumstances is far greater than the discomfort of change. Every moment spent in a draining environment diminishes our capacity to love, to create, to dream, and to act with clarity and purpose. The courage to surround ourselves with uplifting energy is a commitment to our own life, a vow to honor the sacredness of our time, our attention, and our spirit. Uplifting environments and people nurture our growth because they create space for authenticity. They allow us to be fully ourselves without fear of judgment, ridicule, or dismissal. They encourage our strengths, support our weaknesses, and inspire us to reach heights we may have previously believed unattainable. These are the spaces where creativity flourishes, where joy multiplies, where resilience is born. By contrast, environments and people that deplete us stifle our voice, restrict our imagination, and instill doubt, fear, and limitation. They act like invisible chains, binding our potential and keeping us from living fully. To choose wisely whom and what to surround ourselves with is to choose freedom, possibility, and the unfolding of our highest self. Awareness of this principle also calls for discernment. Not every challenge, criticism, or difficult situation is harmful. Some are necessary for growth, for sharpening, for learning. Yet, there is a difference between growth experiences and environments that consistently drain our spirit. Surrounding ourselves with those who uplift does not mean avoiding all discomfort or disagreement. It means choosing relationships and spaces that ultimately contribute positively to our well-being and evolution, where challenges are offered constructively, not destructively, and where support outweighs sabotage. It is a conscious alignment with energy that nurtures rather than diminishes, that builds rather than destroys, and that empowers rather than diminishes. Our inner circle matters profoundly. The people with whom we share our most intimate thoughts, our dreams, our vulnerabilities, shape our reality in ways we often underestimate. When we are surrounded by those who lift us, inspire us, and hold space for our growth, we become stronger, more resilient, more confident, and more capable of achieving our goals. When we are surrounded by negativity, criticism, or envy, we become constrained, anxious, and self-doubting, our vision blurred, and our energy scattered. Recognizing the importance of this inner circle is an act of self-respect, a declaration that we will not squander our precious energy on those who do not honor it, and a commitment to seek relationships that elevate, inspire, and transform. Physical environments also play a critical role. Our homes, workplaces, and communities influence our mood, our energy, and our sense of possibility. A cluttered, chaotic, or toxic space can drain our vitality, impede our creativity, and generate stress, while a harmonious, nurturing, and inspiring environment fuels our spirit, clarifies our mind, and encourages productivity and joy. The colors we see, the sounds we hear, the people with whom we interact, and the energy of the spaces we occupy all affect our well-being. Choosing environments that uplift is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is a recognition that our surroundings are extensions of ourselves, that they shape our habits, our thinking, and our emotional resilience, and that by curating these environments intentionally, we cultivate a life that is enriched, vibrant, and aligned with our highest aspirations. The principle of surrounding ourselves with uplifting energy extends beyond the physical and social into the mental and emotional. The media we consume, the information we absorb, and the thoughts we entertain all contribute to the quality of our inner world. Just as toxic people drain us, so too can constant exposure to negativity, fear, and divisiveness deplete our spirit. Choosing to engage with uplifting books, inspiring music, thoughtful conversations, and constructive ideas is as vital as choosing supportive friends or healthy spaces. This awareness requires vigilance, intentionality, and discipline, for our minds are constantly bombarded with stimuli that can either elevate or diminish us. Guarding our inner world with the same care as our outer world ensures that our energy is not siphoned unnecessarily and that our capacity for joy, creativity, and purpose remains strong and resilient. Furthermore, surrounding ourselves with uplifting influences fosters a culture of reciprocity. When we are in spaces where people inspire, respect, and empower one another, the energy circulates in a harmonious cycle. We uplift others, and they uplift us. We create communities of encouragement, collaboration, and mutual growth. These are the spaces where dreams are nurtured, where talents flourish, and where courage is cultivated. The simple act of consciously choosing uplifting people and environments multiplies our potential impact. extending the benefits beyond ourselves to families, communities, and even society at large. It is also important to acknowledge that cultivating uplifting energy requires discernment and sometimes difficult choices. Not every relationship, job, or circumstance that is familiar or comfortable is ultimately beneficial. Letting go of people, places, or habits that drain us is not an act of weakness or abandonment. It is an act of profound courage and wisdom. It is a commitment to living fully, intentionally, and authentically. The process of curating uplifting energy is ongoing, requiring reflection, awareness, and alignment with our values and goals. It requires saying no to what depletes and yes to what nurtures, consistently and consciously, until the patterns of our lives reflect our highest intentions and aspirations. To surround ourselves with uplifting energy is also a recognition of the sacredness of our time and attention. Every hour we spend, every interaction we engage in, and every space we inhabit carries within it the potential to shape our lives. Choosing wisely ensures that our energy is multiplied, our creativity is fueled, our joy is enhanced, and our impact is maximized. It is an acknowledgement that our life is too precious to spend in depletion, that our spirit is too valuable to be diminished, and that the quality of our experiences is directly tied to the energy we allow into our lives. Ultimately, surrounding ourselves with people and environments that uplift is not merely a strategy for comfort or happiness. It is a path to empowerment, growth, and fulfillment. It is a conscious commitment to living intentionally, honoring our energy, and cultivating a life that reflects our values, our purpose, and our highest potential. By choosing wisely whom and what to surround ourselves with, we create a life of clarity, joy, resilience, and profound impact, where our energy is preserved, our spirit is nurtured, and our potential is realized.